Hello and welcome back to my channel Everything Anything here. We are back with a video top 10 best mind-blowing horror movies list, and this time we have selected the best, new, and thriller movies that you should definitely check out. And do comment on which is your favorite movie in our list. The Curse of La Llorona, also known as The Curse of the Weeping Woman. Plot. In 1673 Mexico, a family plays in a field, and the youngest son gives his mother a necklace, who says she will treasure the item forever. The boy goes on a hike a while later and finds his mother violently drowning his brother in a stream. Horrified, he runs, but his mother catches him and drowns him too. 300 years later, in 1973 Los Angeles, caseworker Anna investigates the truancy of client Patricia Alvarez's 2 children. Arriving at Patricia's house for a welfare check, she finds the children locked behind a door. Patricia attacks her and is taken away by the police. Patricia's sons, Carlos and Tomas, tell Anna to keep them in the room, so they are protected. Next movie is Malignant, is a 2021 American horror film directed by James Wan. Plot. In 1993, Dr. Florence Weaver and her colleagues Victor Fields and John Gregory treat a violent, disturbed patient named Gabriel at Simeon Research Hospital who is able to control electricity and broadcast his thoughts via speakers. After Gabriel kills several staff members, Dr. Weaver determines that he is a lost cause and the cancer must be removed. 27 years later, Madison Lake Mitchell, a pregnant woman living in Seattle, returns home to her abusive husband, Derek. During an argument about her multiple previous miscarriages, Derek smashes Madison's head against a wall, causing her to bleed at the point of impact. After locking herself in her room, she had a nightmare of a person entering their house and killing Derek. To Madison's horror, the killer attacks her shortly after seeing Derek's corpse, knocking her unconscious. Next movie is Barbarian, is a 2022 American horror thriller film. Plot. Tess Marshall arrives at a rental house in the rundown Detroit neighborhood of Brightmoor on the evening before a job interview. However, she finds it has been double booked and is already occupied by a man named Keith Toshko. Initially unnerved by Keith, Tess warms up to him and decides to stay the night while Keith sleeps on the sofa. When she wakes up in the middle of the night, she is shaken to find her bedroom door has been opened, but Keith is asleep and assures her he did not touch the door. The next morning, Tess goes for her interview and is warned not to stay in the area near the house. Next movie. X is a 2022 slasher film written, directed, produced and edited by T. West. Plot. In 1979, police officers arrive on a desolate farm in rural Texas and find numerous dead bodies wrapped in bags. They enter the farmhouse and find something shocking in the basement. 24 hours earlier, aspiring adult film star Maxine embarks on a road trip with her producer boyfriend Wayne, fellow actors Bobby Lynn and Jackson, amateur director RJ, and RJ's girlfriend Lorraine. Graphic film. Bobby Lynn and Jackson strike up a romance, while RJ attempts to make the film seem like a serious cinematic work of art, and Lorraine, who assists with equipment and lighting, is unimpressed. Next movie The Invitation is a 2022 American horror thriller film directed by Jessica M. Plot. In New York City, struggling artist Evelyn Evie Jackson makes a living freelancing for a catering business with her best friend Grace. Evie takes a DNA test, discovering she has a distant cousin in England named Oliver Alexander. She meets Oliver, who tells her the scandal of her great-grandmother, Emmeline, who had a secret child with a black footman. He invites her to an upcoming family wedding in England. Evie arrives in Whitby at the new Carfax Abbey, where she meets the lord of the manor, Walter DeVille, and Mrs. Swift, a longtime maid of the estate. She also meets the rest of the Alexander family and the maids of honor, friendly Lucy and condescending Victoria. Next movie is Megan, is a 2022 American science fiction horror film directed by Gerard Johnstone. Plot. A 9-year-old girl named Katie loses her parents in a car accident. She is sent to live with her Aunt Gemma, a roboticist at the high-tech Seattle toy company Funky. Gemma is covertly using the company's resources to develop Megan, Model 3 generative android, a child-sized humanoid robot doll powered by artificial intelligence, designed to be the ultimate companion. During an unsuccessful test of Megan in their lab, Gemma's boss David discovers the project and orders her to discontinue work on it. Gemma and Katie struggle to connect until Katie discovers Bruce, a motion capture robot that Gemma created. Watching Katie with Bruce, Gemma is motivated to complete Megan. Next movie Smile is a 2022 American supernatural psychological horror film written and directed by Parker Finn. Plot. At a psychiatric ward, therapist Dr. Rose Cotter meets with Laura Weaver, a graduate student who witnessed her art history professor die by suicide a few days earlier. Laura claims that an entity taking the form of smiling people has been terrorizing her and has told her that she is going to die. Soon after, Laura stumbles to the floor and begins screaming. After Rose calls for help, she sees Laura standing up and smiling. With a shard of a broken vase, Laura kills herself by slitting her throat. Rose later sees her manic patient Carl smiling and shouting that she is going to die. Rose calls for nurses to restrain him, only to see he was asleep the whole time. Concerned for Rose's mental well-being, her supervisor Dr. Morgan Desai gives her a week off. Next movie Pray for the Devil is a 2022 American supernatural horror film directed by Daniel Stammen. Plot. Response to a global rise in demonic possessions, the Catholic Church reopens exorcism schools to train priests in the rite of exorcism. Although nuns are forbidden to perform exorcisms, Father Quinn recognizes Sister Anne's gifts, including empathy with possessed victims of demons, and agrees to train her. Thrust onto the spiritual frontline with fellow student Father Dante, and finds herself in a battle for the soul of a young girl, Natalie, who she believes is possessed by a demon who tormented Anne's mentally unstable mother years ago. Next movie Incantation is a 2022 Taiwanese found footage supernatural horror film directed by Kevin Ko. Plot. A woman named Li Ronan narrates the film, imploring the viewer to memorize an insignia and chant an incantation to send blessings and lift a curse on her 6-year-old daughter, Dodo. The insignia and incantation are interspersed frequently throughout the film to encourage the viewer to pray along. The events of the film are shown as a found footage in a non-linear manner. 6 years earlier, Ronan, her boyfriend Dom, and Dom's cousin Yuan broke a religious taboo while documenting a ritual for their online video channel. They went to a remote clan village inhabited by Dom and Yuan's relatives, who practiced an esoteric Yunnan religion worshipping an ancestral deity called Mother Buddha. The clan asked the three to submit their names with the incantation to the Mother Buddha. Veronica is a 2017 Spanish supernatural horror film directed by Paco Plaza. Plot. The film opens in 1991 in medias res, with emergency services responding to a call from a young girl. She sounds panicked and screams about something coming to get her brother before the call cuts off. The film goes back in time 3 days. Veronica is a 15-year-old girl living with her mother and 3 young siblings in an apartment in the working-class district of Vallecas, Madrid. Their father recently died and their mother works long hours at a bar to support the family, leaving Veronica in charge of her younger siblings, twins Lucia and Irene, and Antonito. On the day of the solar eclipse, her teacher explains how some ancient cultures used eclipses to stage human sacrifices and summon dark spirits.